So you have Black Saturday coming out on October 1st, which is a impartial, just holistic look at the scope of this conflict to give people a perspective of what's going on both sides. And, you rarely get that from media these days. And the one thing I took for the viewers when I had you on the first time is your character shines through. Also, your drive shines through. And I want the viewers to realize, again, Trey, it's not an underestimation, is probably working 18 hours a day and found the time over the last few months to write on the side, I'm assuming, to get this book done, which is just having written a book. It took 16 months back in the United States, really doing nothing to crank that thing out, and you've done it in less time. That's absolutely amazing. When did you start the process? When did you realize you needed to do a book to educate Americans on this and the world?
I knew days after the initial Hamas attack, we had a really unique perspective being in the middle of this attack as it unfolded. We got to southern Israel on the morning of October 7th, and there were literally people dying in front of us. I was talking to my cameraman today for a larger piece that we're doing about the 7th, and he said, look, man, there were firefights 200 meters from where we were. That gunfire wasn't just coming from the Israeli military, it was coming from Hamas. And it was a reminder of how close we were on that morning. And so I knew right then that we had a unique personal story. And as I started to speak to the people involved, I realized, okay, I can put this together into a broader story. And I knew very early on I'd call it Black Saturday, because everyone on social media, on X, was calling this day Black Saturday. It aligned with the emotions that you felt. It was truly the darkest day in Israel's history. And it was one of the darkest days of my life personally to see all that up close. But when I started to gather those other stories, I realized, wait, I can weave all this together into a compelling narrative that people will not only learn more about what happened on the morning of October 7th, but in the weeks that we were now in the middle of as I started to write this, from multiple perspectives. And I really appreciated you noticing during our last conversation, it's critical for all journalists, but for me, because it's just who I am as a journalist, to talk to everyone involved. And that's why Black Saturday is truly a book like no other, because I talk not only with Israeli civilians, soldiers, police officers, hostages who were dragged into Gaza and then released as part of the November ceasefire deal. I also speak with Palestinian civilians, Palestinian doctors, Palestinian journalists, to understand what that morning was like inside Gaza and what the weeks were like that followed.